Hello everyone, Tutu Mora here with the Y, bringing you tools to feel well in your body, mind, and spirit. Today class is going to be a little different. We are going to be focusing on our eyes, eye range of motion, and how that kind of connects to the body globally. So if you're someone who uses a device a lot, whether that's looking at your phone or looking at a screen for a large majority of your day, that could even just be the television, often we are just staring straight forward at a screen. And our eyes are a joint. They're a ball socket joint, just like our shoulders and our hips. And we need to be able to move our eyes around in their full range of motion. So think about if we only moved our arms up and down for our whole lives every day, we would eventually just feel really inhibited, and it would be difficult to then reach out into our full range of motion through our hips and through our shoulders. And so the same thing is kind of going for our eyes. And our eye health, our vision, our eye range of motion plays a huge role in our body's center of gravity and globally how everything works together. So when we think about balance, when we think about connection, just creating connection through the whole body, our eyes are a big part of that puzzle. And we're going to be doing some of that work today. So to start, we're just going to start standing, and we're not going to need any props today. We're going to lay down in a bit, but for now, let's just start standing. And we're going to go through a series of eye movements, and then we're going to do some more laying down. So let's start just letting your body feel easy. Your feet are hip distance apart. And we're going to begin by tracking our eyes across a horizontal plane of motion. And what I want you to think about here is we're not just taking our eyes, like to the end of the phone screen and the other end of the phone screen. I want you to continue as you find, for example, as you track your eyes to the left, I want you to take it all the way to the left where you're really reaching into your field of vision, finding what's the furthest possible point that I can take my eyes, that I can take my focus and my vision, and then slowly gliding back to find that same end of the spectrum on the other side. So each direction, whether we're going horizontally, up, down, in a diagonal, I want you to really reach for where the end of your range is. That's going to feel a little difficult because we don't always move our eyes around, so it might feel kind of tiring. It might just feel a little weird, but that's okay because sometimes moving the body in new and different ways feels really weird, and that's okay. Okay, so let's start with our horizontal plane of motion. So as we start to track our eyes to the left, really find your full field of vision, your full range, and then slowly gliding to the other side. And this isn't something we really want to speed through, right? You want to find and stretch your range to each side, but also avoiding the impulse to skip ahead with your eyes. Let it be a smooth tracking line side to side. And we're going to do 8 sets horizontally. Now, I can feel myself doing this already, but your head is going to want to do some of the work for you. So anytime, whether you're like maybe bringing your head against the wall, or if you want to do this laying down so you can feel if your head is moving back and forth, but being aware that your head is going to want to do some of this for you as a way to compensate for your eyes not being particularly comfortable doing this. So again, kind of being aware of where your head may want to be moving side to side instead of your eyes. So we're going back to the starting point, and now I'm on set 3. You may have been still moving, but take this at the pace that allows you to stay focused. Last set here. It's so tempting to want to skip ahead with the eyes, but again, see if you can just take your time. Slow down in the spaces where it's tough to slow down. And then rest your eyes for a moment. Our next plane of motion is going to be vertical. So we're going to track up and down. So again, let's find our full range, stretching it as we take this back and forth. So really find the bottom. Each time really find the top. Your field of vision may expand as you're moving, but again, let your eyes feel like you have control over the movement, just like anything else. If we were moving our leg or our arm, would we want to be jumping around within our circle, or would we want it to be a nice fluid and controlled movement? This is going to be a great thing to do maybe after you've spent a ton of time on a screen, because your eyes can feel tired, and that can lead to headaches, neck pain. I just did some skipping there. So slowing down where you may need to. And then rest. Let your eyes rest. Our next plane of movement is going to be diagonally. So let's start on a high left, track down to a low right. So again, sometimes it's helpful to draw a diagonal line out on a piece of paper so you can follow it with your eyes. So if you're having trouble, you're really just like, if this is the movement of your eye, skipping around, then sometimes that can be a helpful tool to get started. So let's start on our high left. Again, let your head be at center, which is tricky. And then tracking down to the low right. Eight times. And resting. Now the only reason, my head was slowly turning. The only reason I have my fingers here is to check if my head wants to be moving. But again, it's so easy to move the head a little bit, right? Let's take this in the reverse diagonal. So we're starting on a high right and ending on a low left. Use your fingers for some feedback if you need to. I find that kind of helpful. And then go ahead and rest. Maybe noticing what it feels like to move your eyeballs if one eye feels more tired than the other. So the next way we're going to move the eyes is just moving further away and drawing back in. And here it's helpful to use your hands or your fingers. And so we're going to start with, and if you wear glasses or contacts, invitation would be to remove them if that feels doable or helpful for you. And we're gonna bring the fingers just kind of halfway away in that field. And let's start here. So let's start by bringing the fingers in closer to you. And I want you to continue to focus on the fingers. And then bring them further away. For 8. And then go ahead and rest. Rest your eyes. Maybe as you just kind of stand and look around the room, just kind of noticing how things feel to start. And we're going to transition down to the mat. All right. So we're gonna lay down. Knees can be bent. Taking a couple deep breaths here. And maybe we'll take a couple pelvic curls and pelvic extensions. Just kind of gently feeling into how the spine is moving today. And then let's pause at neutral. We're gonna bring one arm up. You can point your index finger here because we're gonna be following our index finger with our eyeballs. So we're gonna start to take that finger overhead. And I want your eyes to find all the overhead range of motion. So stop your finger when you lose it with your eyeballs. And then let's start to track in a full circle, moving slowly because you're gonna wanna make sure you can still find your finger with your eyes. Your head's gonna wanna move as well. I feel my head already moving, but we wanna keep our head at center. And we're gonna take this 3 times in this direction. Letting your field of vision expand, so your circle may increase as you continue. As tempting as it might be to turn your head, see if you can keep that in check. Last time around in this direction. And when we come to the top here, we're going to reverse. Two more. Last one. And then go ahead and relax your arm at your side. Let's come back to your pelvic curl and pelvic extension. And noticing if that movement may have changed a little bit. It might feel a little bit different on one side than the other. You might notice that you've got some more space for your hips. Something lovely happens when we allow the ball socket joints to talk to each other a little bit. So when we are moving the shoulders around, we can feel a difference through the hips. Same thing when we move the eyes around, we can notice a difference through the shoulders and or through the hips. So just kind of feeling in there. Sometimes it can be a little subtle. And then let's pause back at neutral, and we're going to take that to the other side. So let's start with, I'm going over to the left side, and you can begin to point your index finger up at the sky. And let's start to open overhead and begin that process of tracking your index finger with your eye. I already caught my head trying to look. And begin to take that around. And I already noticed that this feels way more effortful than the other. Like my eyes feel tired moving with this engagement than the other side. Two more. And really challenge yourself to find your full range of vision. And now once you get to the top, let's reverse. Two more, we're almost done. And then go ahead and rest. And let's come back to our pelvic curl and pelvic extension. Just noticing how much movement there is now. We didn't even do anything for the hips. So let's ride this for a moment and just allow an opportunity for all our other ball socket joints to move through their range of motion. So let's bring the arms up. Settle your arms heavy through the shoulders, and let's bring thumbs to the palms. We're spreading the other fingers wide, and we're gonna open arms wide out to the side, drawing them back in, relaxing the thumb, take that to the index finger, opening. And drawing back in, middle finger to the palm, spreading the other fingers. And back in, ring finger to the palm, spreading the other fingers. And then pinky fingers to the palms. If the ring fingers come along, that is okay. They share a tendon. And sometimes they move together. Let's hold arms out to the side. Feet and knees can come together. And let's knee sway. So we're sinking into one half of the pelvis. We're sinking into the lifted side of the pelvis to return back to center, floating to the other side. As you come back to center, you can separate the feet. Let's bring the arms back up to the top. Relax the hands. We're going to float arms overhead and start to open out into a circle. Noticing that we are not arching the back. Let's reverse the arms as we circle the arms overhead and up through the center. So the spine is staying neutral with its natural curvature. Now let's take this in the reverse. So arms are going to be doing the opposite things. And reversing at the top. Go ahead and rest your arms at your sides. And let's turn our attention to our hips now. We're gonna flex both our feet and let's start to alternate a clamshell. Hands are on your hip bones so you can listen to your pelvis staying steady in space. We're not rocking that pelvis back and forth. Now let's add to this. We're gonna set our feet back down. We're gonna take a heel slide out to a straight leg. Let's take a straight leg lift, bring that leg into shelf, heel tap down to extend back out. Now we're not curling up the pelvis as we lift our straight leg. Everything is staying neutral through the spine and the pelvis. Now let's reverse directions. glide that leg back in, let it rest. Let's take that to the other side. We're gonna slide out to a straight leg. Straight leg lift, leg into shelf, and heel tap down. Let's reverse, leg into shelf. Extend that leg, drop it down, and glide it in. Now let's return back to the first leg. You can make a shelf out of your leg, hold your leg, and let's extend and bend. Let's pause at the top, point and flex your foot, toes get to stay as soft as possible. And then let's take a few ankle circles, just circling your foot around your ankle, reversing. Let your other leg extend out long. Now you can hold your leg here if you need to, or you can let it be free, but let's start to take a little leg circle. Be with the circle that allows you to stay pretty steady through your trunk. Reversing for 3. And once you arrive at the top, let's take that extension and bending again. Setting that leg back down, and let's switch. Extending and bending, honoring the ability that is found on either side. So you might notice that one side feels a little tighter than the other, which is pretty normal. So just meet each side where it's at. Pausing the top to point and flex that foot. Giving yourself a few ankle circles in each direction. Now you can either continue to hold on to your leg here, or you can let it go, and let's start some circles. Just 3 in each direction, but seeing if you can keep your trunk pretty steady amidst those circles. Let's reverse. Go ahead and bring that extension and bending in again. And then go ahead and sit that leg down, draw the other one in. Let's return to our pelvic curl and pelvic extension, which after moving all of our eyes, our shoulders, our hips, feels pretty free. So now let's just move our pelvic curl up into an articulated bridge. Melting back down. And let's take this a couple times. Once you float down, Let's gently rock up to a seated position, and let's take a little rock. Just rocking that spine, rolling up to pause, and rocking back. Now, as you come to a seated position, let's do just one more thing for the hips here. We're gonna lay on our side, making a pillow out of your arm for your head. Bottom leg gets to bend in, top leg gets to extend. Let's lift our neutrally rotated leg to the height of the hip. Let's take it a little bit past the height of the hip and then externally rotate the leg through the hip. So find that kind of clamshell movement. And then lift that leg up a little higher. Bring it down to just above the hip height where you'll spiral back to neutral and rest back down. And let's take this 5 more times. Once you rest your leg back down, let's bring your arm forward, and we're going to start to open your arm and your leg. So your hip will open, you'll rock across your heel, your hip, your shoulder, your head. We're moving all through those spaces we've been working with. You're opening back and letting your arm and your leg open as they're able. And as you take this back, let it all come back as a set. So that whole side of your body is moving together. 2 more. Last one. So your chest isn't moving faster than your hips, or vice versa. And once you arrive at center, let's take this on over to the other side. So bottom leg gets to bend, top leg is extended. We're lifting up to the height of the hip, little past the height of the hip, external rotation and lifting. Honoring the range that's present here. So I've got more range on this side, which I'll lean into, but I'm honoring just what's here. Four more. Resting here, top arm is open, and let's start to open that hip, shoulder, head can come along with. And bring everything back as a set. Two more. as we come back up, let's again just turn over onto your back for a moment. Come back to your pelvic curl and pelvic extension. Notice the ease through which you can move through this, and let's just effortlessly slide up into a bridge and relaxing back down. One more. You can gently come on up to a seated position. Stand up, take a couple steps around the room. Noticing how your nervous system feels, how your hips feel when walking, or your arms swinging at your sides. Maybe just noticing a little bit how your face feels, how your eyes or your head is feeling as you're moving. You might feel a little sleepy as well. But I hope you found this helpful. I feel like there's a really big invitation for a lot of us to practice our eye range of motion, because as we just, spend a lot of our day looking at screens, we're missing a big component of how our bodies are functionally supposed to move and operate. And so restoring some of that movement is going to be a helpful way just to nourish and restore your body globally. So I hope you found this helpful, and any time that you can just kind of bring in a piece of eye mobility or giving your eyes a break from just staring straight forward at a screen, it's going to be really helpful for your body as a whole. So I hope you all take care, and I'll plan to see you back here next time on the Wise Recharge with Us from Home series.